Cool. You talked to you just a couple minutes before you
Yeah,
get out
yeah,
of here?
sure.
Thanks, man.
Muchas
Just,
gracias.
No, hermano, siempre. Ya sabes.
Bro, just tell FightHype, man. What do you think of Tank's replacement opponent,
You know,
Cruz?
no disrespect to Rolly. I thought it was going to be an interesting fight because more based on what, the trash talking and, there's a little bit of bad blood between them two. But I think this is a way better replacement, way better fight now because Isaac Cruz, he's really strong. A little short for the weight class, yeah, but Tank is not the biggest fighter in his weight class either. Little mini Mike Tyson as well, pressure fighter. So it's gonna play out to be an interesting fight. I think against Rolly was gonna be a little bit sluggish because of Rolly's style. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the change. I mean, I hope, and I was hoping that it would have been a Gary Russell, but unfortunately it wasn't. But Isaac Cruz is really good replacement.
Is that come forward style tailor made for a Tank? Walking into a buzzsaw, or no? You think Tank?
It is and it isn't. If you go back to Leo Santa Cruz against him, when Leo was pressuring him, Tank was having problems. Tank was feeling uncomfortable. But once he got his distance, once he got his reach, that's when he was able to do damage against Leo Santa Cruz. So I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Isaac Cruz puts the work. He pressures well. Has power, has pop behind those hands. So, again, I'm looking forward to this fight even more now.
And just wondering, because they're fighting back-to-back weeks, Haney with JoJo, and then of course Tank on Showtime pay-per-view.
Right.
What do you think that fight would play out like, Haney and Tank? Maybe like Saturday's fight, Canelo and Plant, or no? But how do you?
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
How do you think a fight with Haney and Tank would play out? If
Oh,
they
okay.
both win their fights and
Yeah. You know what? Styles is it's one of those fights that styles make fights. I think Haney is more of a technician type of fighter. It'll be more of a chess match in the beginning. Eventually, Tank is will be the beast that he always is, trying to pressure and break Haney. But you can't look past any of these fights.
Right.
You just said it. Haney's fighting Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz is a great fighter. I think Jojo Diaz has a winning chance against David Haney and Cruz. Isaac Cruz. I mean, can't count this little guy out, man. He pops. He pressures well. So again, but if you can mix any of these fights up, they would all be interesting to watch for sure.
Obviously, Tio and Haney, they have the belts, but in your eyes, is Tank the best lightweight in boxing, or?
No, I like Tio.
Mm-hmm.
I like Teofimo Lopez, despite him being a little, not as busy, not as active. I still have him up there. I think he's the best at 135.
That'd be two bazookas going at each other.
Yeah, they were to fight. That one would determine who is the best. I think Tank and Teofimo Lopez, a fight between them would just be great.
They're both not just powerful, but fast and slick too, right?
Oh yeah, both it'll be stylistically just perfect, tailor made for both. Just for action, because they're so ferocious, but at the same time they're really they got really well boxing skills all around.
And your hat says, making history.
Making history, man.
Alvarez.
Yeah, man. That's what we're here for, to witness history this Saturday night against Caleb Plant, Canelo Alvarez. Despite whoever takes the belt, they will both be making history. Canelo to be the first in any weight class to be a unified world title champion, and Caleb Plant's in this weight class division. So it's a really good fight, man. I read a lot. I see a lot on social media about. Obviously, we all, a lot of us are favoring Canelo because the momentum that he has, the fights that he's had in the past. Name it. He's fought in all shapes, all colors, all styles, and he's been able to beat them. We know that he always has trouble with boxers, pure boxers, but at the end of the day, he comes up top. He beats these guys.
Think he'll have those problems Saturday night?
So I think so. I think this Saturday night he will have problems again. Early on. And you got to understand that Canelo Alvarez is not a fast starter. He's a really slow starter. He likes to figure out the opponent. He gets comfortable sometimes on the ropes, but at the end of the day, he's a guy that is just taking info, taking data, and by the end of 3-4 rounds, he's already got what he needs. He got the information he needed, and he goes out there and he finishes he finishes you. He annihilates you. He breaks you down, and you know, the power is there in both hands.
Obviously, you're not predicting because you're calling the fight on Showtime pay-per-view, but
that's what I'm saying. Like even Caleb Plant, his style, man. This guy's a pure athlete. Talking about Caleb Plant, guy does not drink, the guy does not smoke, he does not party. He's all about boxing, 24/7. I mean, only true champions you see him in Canelo, you know, in the gym rat, Floyd Mayweather. Very few fighters that you really consider gym rats and that are constantly learning. And I think Caleb Plant is there, where he's learning. And yes, he's coming in as the underdog and less experienced, but he possesses pure natural athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's an athlete. And can he outbox Canelo for 12 rounds? I think he can. You know, he's got the goods. So I mean, it's just a matter of waiting, seeing Saturday night, and to see who can, you know, demonstrate their best.
Do you think anything surprises boxing fans in this fight?
Yeah, it's one of those fights that anything can happen inside the ring.
And to lastly, for Canelo, this, like you said, making history on the hat. Barrera, who I'm sure you loved growing up.
Oh man,
he said he wins this fight. He in his book, he's el mejor. He's the best ever from Mexico.
You know what? It's really hard to get into that, but I'm not mad at that, because if we're talking about statistics, numbers, Canelo surpasses everyone. He's done a lot more than any of these great history boxers. You know, who's that? Chavez, Salvador Sanchez, any of these fighters, he surpasses all of them. You know, obviously it's based on the opportunities that he's had. Most of these fighters didn't have, but yeah, Canelo has done a lot for his name and for the country.
And lastly, man, just Crawford Porter, please break down in predictions, since you're not calling the fight.
Yeah, you know what?
The fight, so you can give a prediction.
Yeah, you know, Sean Porter, really good friend of mine, good fighter, great friend, good person, gives anyone problems. Boom, that's all I gotta say. He'll give anyone problems. But in this case, I think Terrence Crawford is just a little bit, you know, technician better, you know, than Sean. But Sean, again, you know, going back, he'll give anyone problems, and I would not be surprised if he just takes Crawford out of his game zone, game plan, because he has that style. He's wild, you know. He could push you. He could be rugged, you know. And when you have a fighter like that, yes, you came in with a plan, but you know you can't figure this guy out. So you know what's next. So that's where this fight falls into.
Will that counterpunching be too much from Crawford?
Can be, but if you got a guy that is constantly, you know, throwing looping punches from all angles, different stance, because you know Sean Porter will throw overhand right and then he'll stand left, and then you know so on. So the guys, you know how to adapt to styles. So again, it should be an interesting matchup.
But you lean towards Crawford. Did I get that right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I hope we see you in the Hall of Fame when 5 or 3 years after it's all said and done, man, because you're still doing your thing. But that run you went on from 122 to 126, or 118 to
118, yeah, 118 to 126 to 130, yeah.
I've seen in recent boxing. So,
thank you, brother.
Thank you, Abner.
No, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.